questions?
My name is Dallaire. I represent the Darfurian Congress Council of Canada, and I have been here 7 years. My question is General John Mayer. I know he's working very hard in all Africa. It's not just Darfur. I appreciate your presentation. It's doing well. My question is, Canadian government with the United States government, including NATO, to go through fight for the Libyan regime. How does that work? Therefore, since 1987, all its civilians will be die every day with the Sudan government power. At that time, we are local here, Canadian, we asking our government to inform we need help with humanitarian, with anything we can do better with Darfurian people.
Yeah.
And when we see here on news, why that is NATO just keeping fighting for the Libya, and there is other countries, even Syria has been still continuous. It's about oil. We have oil lot more than in Libya.
Okay.
And that question is, I know it's a NATO, but I appreciate you can answer same.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. You mentioned Darfur. There was Somalia in the 90s. Somalia in 93, 94 was a major test case for the developed world in regards to conflicts in imploding nations, in failing states, in which there was no overt colonial requirement by history, colonial power there, or no necessarily overt strategic value or self-interest. It was humanitarian. So let's take the Somalia of 92, 93, and what happened there. Now we've ended the Cold War, right? We have the peace dividend. Everybody's saying, get rid of your armies, we don't need them. And all of a sudden, we get the famine in Somalia, we have warlords, and then people are saying, geez, we need people to go and protect them and get the food to them and so on. And as that goes on, the Americans lose 18 soldiers who are killed in an ambush, and some of you have probably seen the movie Black Hawk Down. Bill Clinton, who was for UN, for humanitarian assistance, had just come to power and wanted the Americans in there to lead with the rest of the UN and so on. But when he got those 18 casualties, they did an assessment in the White House. And they said, will the American people tolerate the loss of life of their soldiers, humanitarians, and even diplomats for a cause that has no value to them? For a cause that has no value to them. Because their criteria is, for the politician, one, is it worth my political capital getting boiled in something this complicated? Two, is it in the self-interest of the country? Whenever you hear a politician say self-interest, you should spit. A nation like ours doesn't function from self-interest. It functions because of our work ethic, our mastery of technology, our beliefs, our values. That's how it works. And then it goes beyond that. So, second criteria, self-interest. Was there any self-interest there in Somalia for them? No. Was it a complicated place? Absolutely. Third criteria, Clinton brought in and spooked the rest of the world. Casualties. Can we sustain casualties on a cause that is purely humanitarian? And the answer was no. And so they pulled out. They accelerated their pullout, And they abandoned the Somalis, us, the Pakistanis, the UN, everybody else, because of 18 professional soldiers doing their duty. And not only that, he then brought in a presidential directive called number 25 in March of 1994. Remember the dates. Mogadishu happens in October 93. March 94 brings in a presidential directive that says the United States will not engage in any conflict in which it's not in its self-interest. This is Bill Clinton. So in April, when the genocide starts, Madeleine Albright, in the side room beside the actual Security Council room that we see on TV, there's another one where they beat each other up a bit more. And in there, she said, the United States will not engage in Rwanda and help no one who wishes to do so. And so instilled in the rest of the world these criteria. And that's what we've been using. Is it complicated? Do I want to put my political risks in there? Is it in our self-interest? What's in there for us? Security can be one. Okay, so Afghanistan, maybe. And the third one, casualties. Can we sustain casualties? Will the country accept that? They're slaughtering them by the hundreds of thousands there, but our casualties, ours. And so we entered an era where field commanders were being held more accountable for bringing everybody home than actually accomplishing the mission. No matter, you didn't save the people, as long as you didn't put the troops too much at risk, that would put the government in a difficult position, that would be suitable. Because maybe those people really don't count as much. And so from that heart, we have seen all these other imploding nations where it doesn't meet those criteria being abandoned. We're into what we call elective wars now. So Darfur comes in, and Darfur is complicated because one, there's nothing there, right? Two, massive population being abused. Three, you've got a member of the Security Council that's backing up the current government because it's buying its oil from there and it's arming its army. And so you got a fear of a veto in the Security Council. So you say, well, we'll throw some cash at it. So in 2005, when Prime Minister Martin sent Ambassador Fowler, myself, and Senator Jaffer, who was very much involved with the Comprehensive Peace Agreement on the women's side of the House, in there, we were moving in APCs. The three countries that sent in the African Union force was Nigeria, Senegal, and Rwanda. Rwanda had 3,000 troops because they saw it as a genocide. And so we were arming them, and then, of course, I am a senator of the Liberal side, and when the Conservatives came into power, I was fired, and we've been simply throwing cash at it since then. And so we've let that thing fester. The Congo, in 2002, Kofi Annan came to Canada and said, I need a 3-star Canadian general, and I need 2,000 troops to lead the biggest UN force that we're going to put into the Congo, into that civil war, where they're slaughtering them by the millions. And by the by, where a whole bunch of countries have primary interest in the extraction industry because there's all kinds of stuff there. Every one of you has a cell phone, BlackBerry, or any electronic device these days has some coltan in it. Coltan comes from the eastern Congo. It's being mined by kids. It's been maneuvered through countries. It's been married up with ethical coltan, because you use the term ethical oil here, ethical coltan in Australia, and the mixing of the two makes the coltan ethical. And we're paying through the nose for it. And if you don't have it, you ain't got a BlackBerry. You ain't got a cell phone. How many of us are willing to give it up? So we didn't send the 2,000 troops that would have been the backbone of that force and the command structure. We knew the languages, we knew the people, we knew the area. No, we felt that our security was more a threat, our security, our self-interest, and bingo, we went into Afghanistan. We should have been able to do both. And so why are we not even in Somalia now, where the warlords are again preventing people from being fed? I mean, that's against fundamental rights. We didn't sign the fundamental right to water. The argument we got in the Senate of why we didn't sign that convention, Canada, is that we don't want to end up one day having to be obliged to give water to the Americans, because they're using it up to fill their deserts of all kinds of fruits and all kinds of orchards. So we want to be able to sell it to them. So we didn't sign a convention that's preventing people from getting water. Self-interest. So when we are very high and mighty about our values and our ethical standards and our references as a society, our moral standings, there's so much hypocrisy, so much camouflage in the political elite that we let them get away with because we've abdicated our duties towards holding them accountable, not the Auditor General, not the Globe and Mail, us. And one way you hold them accountable is by being members of political parties and getting involved. One other way is go electronic. You get 100 emails a day. How many of you send a one-liner every day to your MP, saying to him or her, I want you to work on this? That's how we get a country to mature to its full potential. And that's how people keep themselves out of complex problems, by keeping the country at about a grade 9 level of thinking, by dumbing down the country, and by getting it at each other's throats or dividing it up. That's how you keep the complicated problems away. That's how we abandon Somalia. That's how we abandon Darfur. That's how we don't bring in legislation for child soldiers. That's how we let Omar Khadr sit there instead of bringing him here and sorting him out here. That's, I think, going to be a primary target of the youth of this nation. They work without borders. They are worldwide. That communications revolution has no borders. And they are going to move the NGO world to be the expression of humanity, to advance it in policies and public opinion. And so, that's my short answer.